Craig, I'm standing in front of a picture you have seen many, many times. There's no hurricane or tornado in America that does not have a scene like this, a building that is just completely devastated. What happens? I'm always fascinated. I see people coming onto their properties and picking things up and trying to clean up and get a head start before authorities are around, before there are dozers and things like that. What is happening right now that we're not seeing?
Well, part of it is looking at where people are going to stay. I mean, FEMA in the state have been talking about this, and they started before the storm, is where are we going to house people? People can't stay in their cars. They can't stay there. There's only so many hotel and motel rooms in the immediate area. So they're going to have to look at temporary housing. I think once you get to the rescues done, you get the roads open up, debris off. Again, Sanibel, some of those places, you're going to have to do more work to get temporary bridges. We're talking about bringing in like ferries and stuff. But I think the next big hurdle is what is going to be the short-term housing for all of these people who have lost their homes that are residents there. We've got some folks that haven't come down yet. They're seasonal. But the folks that lived there went through the storm. Where are they going to be living? And that short-term housing is a huge challenge given how much area has been devastated.
John, one of the things, I mean, a lot of people who don't live in Florida know Florida because they visit it and they go to places that are, well built and they see the best of it. Florida is a complicated place. There are lots of places that are not Sanibel, that are not Naples, or or the fancy parts of it. There are lots of places that have come down and that are on the margins and that are low-lying and that are populated by marginalized communities. How do you try and make sure that the government's hand is applied with some equity?
Ellie, it's going to be difficult. I'll just be upfront about that. It's going to have to involve having multiple people at multiple levels that are really carefully looking at the needs of the different segments that have been impacted. And in a situation like this, where you're talking about a massive hurricane impact, literally every single segment of society has been impacted. The folks that really typically are involved in lower cost housing, that have come from lower cost housing, come from lower income areas, are going to be almost unable to help themselves. It'll be very difficult. They may have relatives someplace that they can go stay with. They may have other people that they know that are out of harm's way that they can go stay with, but a lot of them don't. So it's going to be a priority to try to work with the people that can't find housing on their own.
Craig, you and I have talked about this in the past, and there are various studies that indicate that the cost of building things that are resilient to some of these issues is much lower than the cost of rebuilding or repairing them. There's just something wrong with the way we have that system worked out. When you're FEMA, you must be sitting there thinking, if we had only done this, or if this was constructed a certain way, or code had been applied in a certain way. Obviously, that's not FEMA's job. You can't correct that. But what's the lesson that we should be starting to take away with these increasingly difficult disasters?
Do not build based upon past history and past experiences. We got to build for the future. And here's another problem. And John kind of alluded to this. Finding temporary housing is one thing, but I watched this play out in too many communities. When we go to rebuild, we gentrify. And we end up displacing people even further away from their community because we don't focus on building affordable housing back. None of these areas, had surplus affordable housing in the first place. The rental markets are crazy. And so what we have to really watch on is, we're going to build back. We're going to build back better. But are we going to build back for the people that are living there? Or are we going to build back to increase the tax base?
And that's the kind of thing we always have to think about, because you're right. Getting affordable housing in places like this, where they are resorts and they're here for tourists and they're here for that kind of stuff, it becomes very hard. You really end up squeezing people into the least desirable areas. Craig, thanks very much. John, good to have you here. Thanks to both of you.